Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. This is iAllegedly, and got a good one for you today. Because I'm in Laguna, and it's kind of overcast. It's kind of fitting for what's happening. We have a really big week financially. Got so many big announcements, plus banks and tanks, guys. A lot of crazy stuff happening right now. So before I get into it, please take a second. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Share this with everybody. Plus, we have a sponsor today, Uranium Energy Corporation. And I love this company. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about it a little later. But this video is funded by Gold Standard Media. And we're going to cover your Uranium Energy Corp, which, again, I love this place. And I can't wait to tell you guys about it. Let's get into it. First things first, we have some huge announcements that are coming this week. And with these huge announcements, one thing that the Fed's doing that's absolutely insane is they're prefacing all this stuff by saying, this is not happening, this is not happening, don't worry about it, we're not in a recession. I think that we're going to see shenanigans this week, and I think that the numbers that they're going to give us are not going to be factual. That's first of all, that the GDP numbers should be off a cliff right now. And regardless of what they tell us, and whatever the new math is, okay, I don't care. I really don't, because what we're seeing is an economy that is in utter collapse right now. And yeah, you've got this resort hotel. There's a lot of people hanging out here. But again, people don't have the money that they had a year ago. People are spending less. People are putting off the home purchases. Let's start with that. Right now, great article about how people a year ago, interest rates 2.78, now they're 5.64. They doubled in a year. So people that are in the $200,000 to $400,000 range for houses, it's not for everybody. It's not this area, clearly. But they can't afford the house payments. One man in the article was talking about how he had to have his house payment at $2,350, and he's getting it nowhere near that. He's getting it, over $4,000 a month, and not everybody can swing that. So that's the first thing. Real estate is going to be the thing that's going to collapse. I was just talking to a gentleman here who is convinced that we're going to see major problems that are going to be worse than 2008 just because of the way that they're putting things off. And again, we're seeing a lot of the similar things that we saw back then. Instead of getting real, instead of saying, we have a problem right now, they're telling people not to worry. These numbers don't lie. The numbers are old. That's insane, guys. You purchase things. You buy things in stores. You buy things in restaurants, and you buy auto parts. You buy everything, and you've seen it do nothing but spike over the last year and a half. And there's no end in sight. To sit there and talk about inflation peaking is insane. Janet Yellen steps forward, and great article below about how this is not what you guys think it is. And the numbers aren't as bad as everybody thinks they are. Well, yes, they are, guys. They're worse than this. But again, telling people that things are not as bad just so that they feel good about themselves, I mean, that is, it's insane. It's the alcoholic way of life. Don't worry. Just keep going. You're fine. It's insanity. Absolutely nuts. Now, the Fed this week sits down and has their meeting, and they're going to raise interest rates. How much are they going to raise interest rates? 0.5 point, 3/4, nothing, a full point. How about 2 points? How about do that and try to fix something? Because whatever they do, it's going to do absolutely nothing. The market's going to cheer it, and the stock market's going to go up. Whatever they do, it's going to be spun as good news. And one thing that somebody sent me a story on that was great. You know how we have all these bots here on YouTube lately that do nothing but comment and make things up and reach out to me, and they do it with all channels that have a decent sized audience, and they act like they're that person, and they say, hey, text me here, reach out here. And by the way, report those people. I do not text you guys. I do not use WhatsApp or Telegram or anything like that to communicate. It's ridiculous. But the bots know exactly when they've been kicked off now, and they change the image, and then they come back for more. So sometimes you have to kick these people off 5 and 6 times in a day. This is who's trading stocks right now. These bots are trading stocks right now, and I don't believe for a second that this is real. I don't. I just don't. But share your thoughts on this stuff, guys. What do you think we're going to see with interest rates right now. Where are they going to go? They're going to have their meeting starting on Tuesday, and everybody's going to hem and haw, and the market's going to, hold their breath for a day, like something bad is going to happen, and nothing's going to happen. So there is that. The only thing that we can count on is the complete lies of all this stuff. None of it's true. I don't feel good about any of this stuff right now. But again, Lehman Brothers. The music is still playing, so we've got a place. And think about this. People saw that stock at $36 and saw it go down to pennies. Unload it. When do you sell? When do you make the decision to get rid of it? That's what you have to do. Share your thoughts, guys, on all this stuff. Now let's talk about our sponsor, Uranium Energy Corporation. The ticker symbol is UEC. Now, guys, one thing that people have asked me for over and over again is something outside of the metal space. Well, here you go. This is a pure play in uranium, and it's also the biggest player for uranium in the United States. This company's CEO is a man named Amir Anani, who I am a huge fan of. And Amir, number one, the guy will be a billionaire someday. But this is the largest play for energy that you guys can have right now. Now, I'm not giving you financial advice, but look at it this way. Everything that's happening right now with Russia and with just global instability in general points to how we're going to have nothing but problems getting oil. Whether you believe that or not, I truly do. But the one thing that I love is when I started investigating uranium, here's the one thing that's wild about this. 1 in 5 households in America are supported by nuclear energy. I didn't know that. And this stock is trading under $3.50 a share. But right now, they're talking about analysts that have said that this is going to go up as much as 100% this year and double in price. You've got 2 analyst ratings, one in the $6 range and one in the $7 range. That's huge right there. But also, they own the uranium mines. So you guys have got to take a look at this. Now, in addition to the 2 price points that they think that the stock's going to hit over the next year, you've also got this traded on NYSE. So anybody can buy this stock. You've got it available on Webull, E-Trade, Schwab, everybody. You're going to be able to find this stock. Now, one thing to take a look at is this is traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and this is owned by Wall Street. You've got 45% of the company that is owned by very large players in this industry, and it's like buying a uranium ETF. So the likelihood that it's going to go up is huge, and you have to look at things like this because when you hear about the companies that are involved in it, they're places that you've heard of. And you've got Vanguard that owns 5%. You've got BlackRock that owns 6%, and State Street that owns 11% of this company. That is huge right now. And again, the alternatives for oil, the alternative to any type of wind, any type of solar energy, this is the play that has the most stability and the most potential growth is in uranium right now. So you've got to take a look at this. Look at UEC. I love the company for the fact that Amir Anani is the CEO of this. In fact, when we had talked about other Amir Anani companies, I had asked for this one. This is the one I really wanted. So I'm not giving you guys financial advice. Do your own due diligence. But this is a player in the industry. And when you look at the value of uranium and how little it takes to energize things, this is going to be needed with the growing population around the world. But in the United States, the only pure uranium play right now is UEC. So take a look at UEC, and I think it's an absolute winner, guys. You have to look at the instability in the world right now when it comes to your investments. I am telling everybody, the one thing that you can do right now is to get some advice outside of what you're doing with your 401k and something different. Now, think about this. Russia supplies about 10% of the uranium to the world. And with the instability of Russia, it's creating nothing but problems. But Europe right now is doing things that they never would consider just a few years ago. And I got to share this with you because these figures are staggering. Think about this. Finland just recently started its first reactor in 40 years. Finland. United Kingdom announced plans to increase nuclear capacity from 7 kilowatts to 24 kilowatts by 2050 because nobody wants to be Sri Lanka, guys. So again, UEC, take a look at this stock. UEC, I know I'm looking at it. I'm not giving you financial advice. Do your own due diligence, but people say things like, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. These guys hold the uranium. This is what they do, and this is a play that could absolutely double in price over the course of the next year. Now, here is something that was unthinkable a couple years ago, but Germany is thinking of extending the life of its 3 nuclear reactors right now because of the energy problems that they had and that they put themselves into with wind and with solar. The next one is the Netherlands. The Netherlands is thinking about adding 3 nuclear reactors as well. Again, uranium, guys. UEC, take a look at it. And I absolutely love this company, but it's not a metals play, but it's something completely different. Take a look at UEC, guys. We all have to be concerned about the energy problem that's happening. How about this one that's absolutely ridiculous? The city of Portland, Oregon is considering getting rid of diesel fuel. No fossil fuel diesel fuel allowed within the city limits. Okay, guys, how do you have trucks deliver to Portland? Telepathy, drones, whatever. Guys, this is going to be catastrophic for cities like this because it will make people not want to have commerce there. But again, maybe they'll use nuclear, maybe they'll use UEC to power their vehicles there. Now, one thing that people have written me a tremendous amount about lately is the number of stimulus checks. Hey, when are we going to get our next stimulus check? Well, I found a list of 10 states that are issuing stimulus checks. And basically the southwestern part of the United States. California, I talked about that a couple weeks ago, so you're going to see some stimulus activities. But guys, do a search amongst, in the city you live in, the county you live in, the state you live in, and see if there's any activity for stimulus checks in the future, if this is something that's important. Now, the final thing with this, when it comes to money, is there still are cities that want people to relocate and move to their cities. Now, think about this. Topeka, Kansas. They'll give you guys $5,000 to relocate to Topeka, Kansas. And, Newton, Iowa, you can get a home for $190,000, and you'll get $10,000 offered from the city if you move to Newton, Iowa. And the final one is St. Clair County in Michigan. They'll give people that move there $15,000 off their student loan debt to move in the city. You're going to see more and more things like this, guys. But again, put your thinking cap on. Start to search. Clear your search history and start from scratch, guys, because that's where you're going to find this information. But again, all this stuff is out there, and you're going to see more and more of that. But as things get more desperate, and you can kid yourself and talk, oh, it's going to be great, they're going to turn it around. I'm telling you this right now, regardless of what happens this week, they're going to tell us that it's not that bad. They're going to tell us that we're not in a recession, and we are in an absolute recession right now. Banks are having nothing but problems right now. They're putting together war chests for banks right now to pay off bad loans. Well, I'm making my payments, guys. What about you guys? Somebody's not making those payments to where JP Morgan, Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and the rest of them are all concerned about this, big and small. So share your thoughts on this stuff, guys, because it's only getting worse. And one thing I get a kick out of down here is when the light just gets perfect and you get this overcast, you get all these Instagram models and people doing their different photos, engagement photos, all that stuff. So maybe I'll run into you getting married down here sometime. So let me know, guys. Share your thoughts on all this stuff, guys. Now, think about this, guys. Banks and tanks. Tiananmen Square was 33 years ago. And that was when people revolted and stood up to the man in China. Now, people are fed up with the Chinese banks with story time. Since April, a lot of the Chinese banks in some of the smaller cities have not let people have access to their money. And finally, these people started to protest, so much so that they're absolutely furious with waiting for a response and something that makes an ounce of sense. But here's the thing. This is what started it all. We've heard this. This was what we were told with the cryptos. The Chinese banks wanted to lure people to their banks, so they offered them higher interest rates. They were so high that the Chinese banks could not sustain it. And here's the sick part. the majority of the shareholders and management at these Chinese banks are members of the CCP. They're direct family members of this. So the ruling class is not taking care of the common folk, to say the least. Now, this has only escalated worse and worse and worse, but you can sit there and say, oh, this is China, Dan, this could never happen here. You bet it could happen here. It's happening here. We're seeing more and more problems where people can't get access. I get emails all the time where people were locked out of online banking for 5-6 days, and then, hey, guess what? This is fixed now. And no explanation, no problem, but you're going to see more and more problems with these banks doing this. And China is doing nothing to help these people. Finally, they rolled the tanks out to say, hey, enough is enough. We don't want these people, bashing down the doors. Okay, well, things are only going to get worse. So again, no explanation, no date on, hey, you're going to get your money. Some people have been given money, and then they use this person as the poster child for, look at, this guy got his check, she got her money, and that's it, minimal. Not even a percentage that I can find out that these people got access to their funds back. So this is only going to get worse. And Nancy Pelosi, don't know why, but she's going to get in her, plane and fly to China and have a state visit. We need that now, guys. Enough is enough. It's getting ridiculous right now, and you guys have to look at everything that's happening. But here is the thing that you have to look at. When you see these problems with foreign banks, you can sit there and say, oh, well, that's China, Dan, it's not us. No, it is ridiculous. All the practice, cyber attacks, games that they're playing, this is something you need to take seriously when it comes to your banking. Look at having multiple banks. You have to have a bank. You have to have an online presence. And for those of you that have a pension, Social Security, anything like that, just make sure that you have a chunk of the money out of the bank. It's all relative, okay? What if you couldn't get to the bank for a week? That's the question. Have enough money to deal with that, guys, because it's serious. But I'll send a couple stories. There's a couple good stories in the video description about China. But enough is enough, guys, because they're clearly not telling us what's going on there. We have to get bits and pieces from different countries and people that are there and family members. But think about this way, and I'm going to say it one more time. If you could not get to access to your money since April, guys, when do you sit there and say, wow, that's crazy, okay? That's what's happening to these people. And then they've given access to, a couple dozen people when there's tens of thousands of people that can't get their money, and they're trying to have this be, look how great this is. It's ridiculous, okay? Absolutely ridiculous. Share your thoughts on this stuff, guys. I'm going to end this video with these last few stories. Take a look at our sponsor, Uranium Energy Corporation, UEC. Couple things. Spencer Abraham's on the board. Amir Anani's the CEO. The thing is an absolute player. Think about this. There's less than 500 people that work in uranium in the United States. This is the cleanest form of energy, and this is an industry that is in huge demand right now because it is an inflation hedge. Take a look at UEC, not giving you financial advice, but take a look at this one. Now, a couple things that are crazy is that Mark Cuban was on a podcast this last week, was talking about all his Shark Tank investments, and he is upside down with the $80 million he's put into Shark Tank investments. That's crazy, guys. I thought they were just making a killing hand over fist, but when it comes to individual Shark Tank investments, he's actually in the negative. Who knew? Now, think about this. I got this story sent to me, two separate stories, two different jurisdictions. Canada, Halifax. Halifax superstores, the large grocery stores they have in Halifax, are adding cops, not just security guards. They're adding full-blown police officers to work inside the stores, and they're not talking to anybody about it. We're not going to discuss it. something's going on. But the idea with this is that they're going to stop any potential people robbing food, okay? And it looks like that's a major problem. Now, what is the number one position added to large food chains right now? Okay, is it cashiers? Is it people in the back room? Is it the people driving the trucks, the forklifts? No, security right now. Get ready, guys. That should be staggering for you when that's the number one thing that people are adding right now. Take a look at the video description below and you can get details on that. And now, I'm going to end this video with this last story. One thing that's crazy here in Orange County, California, think about this. It's a week before this happens, Monday to Friday. On Friday night, they're going to have a DUI checkpoint to stop alcohol, potential people from drinking and driving, okay? Isn't that great? But they notify everybody a week in advance. Hey, don't drive near here because there's going to be DUI checkpoints. We're going to check for marijuana usage, we're going to check for drugs and alcohol. How insane is that? Now, here's the thing. The particular points, the number of checkpoints has not been announced yet. It will be. And here's the craziest part about Orange County. They're going to tell you where these are at. And people are still going to drink and drive through these things. Is that nuts? So share your thoughts on all this stuff, guys. And again, take a look at our sponsor, UEC. I think it's fantastic. I think the company's fantastic, but more importantly, the fact that this company's got $182 million in cash, and they are a pure play when it comes to uranium. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Share this with everybody. Onward and upward, guys. I will see you guys very soon.